Explained, where each week I give you background information on the readings that you hear at Mass. So when you're there on Sunday, it's a little easier to understand what it is you're hearing. This week is the 26th Sunday in Ordinary Time, and if your parish is currently following the Year A reading cycle, then the first reading that you'll hear is from the book of the prophet Ezekiel. Now, we've talked about this book before in these videos, and I want to remind you that he's writing this while he is in captivity in Babylon. Also, there's a couple really important things for you to understand. The first thing is that at this point in time, when this is written, the Israelite people were of the mindset that sin was passed down from generation to generation. So they believed that they were responsible for the sins of their parents and so on. So this reading does multiple things. Number one, God addresses that and says, doesn't exactly work that way. Everyone is responsible for their own relationship with me, and everyone is responsible for maintaining that relationship with me. Now, the second thing that this reading does is it explains to the people that they have a choice on how they live their lives and whether or not they live their lives with God. So what the reading explains is that if you lead a holy life, but you decide that you want to turn to a life of wickedness and you want to sin and turn away from God and no longer have a relationship with God, then at the end of your life, you'll die. But on the other hand, if you lead a life of wickedness, but you decide that you do want to have a relationship with God and you turn to God, God will forgive you of everything that you've done, and then you'll live. So it's an interesting message, and I encourage you to listen closely to the gospel on Sunday as well, because the gospel is a parable where Jesus is expressing that same message. And again, I love when that happens because this was written by the prophet Ezekiel hundreds of years before Jesus ever even existed. So it's really cool when the gospel validates a message from the scriptures. So now that you have that information, here is what the reading actually says. A reading from the book of the prophet Ezekiel. Thus says the Lord, you say, the Lord's way is not fair. Hear now, house of Israel. Is it my way that is unfair, or rather, are not your ways unfair? When someone virtuous turns away from virtue to commit iniquity and dies, it is because of the iniquity he committed that he must die. But if he turns from the wickedness he has committed and does what is right and just, he shall preserve his life, since he has turned away from all the sins that he has committed. He shall surely live, he shall not die. The word of the Lord. Again, hopefully you found that to be helpful. If you did, please remember to follow me, like the video, comment on it, whatever you'd like, and don't forget to come back next week as we break down one of the readings from the 27th Sunday in Ordinary Time. I will see you then.